These episodes take a long time to research, film, edit, and create. So your support by liking, commenting, and subscribing truly means the world to us here at Megalith Alignments. Before we enter the cliffs of Deir el-Bahari, two giants rise from the desert floor, the Colossi of Memnon. For over 3,000 years, these massive seated statues have watched over the west bank of Luxor, once guarding the lost mortuary Temple of Amenhotep III. They now stand like silent sentinels at the edge of the ancient necropolis. But beyond them, carved into the mountain itself, another mystery waits. The Temple of Hatshepsut rises in perfect terraces beneath the cliffs, a monument to Egypt's most powerful female pharaoh, divine kingship, and a sacred connection to Amun. Stay tuned. After Hatshepsut's temple, near the Valley of the Kings, we continue to one of the most iconic sites on the West Bank, the massive Colossi of Memnon. As we begin walking toward the entrance of Hatshepsut's temple, the scale starts to change. From a distance, the monument looks perfectly balanced against the cliffs. But up close, the terraces, ramps, and columns feel like they were designed to pull you forward. Before we enter, notice the brick arch structure nearby. This is not part of the original 18th dynasty temple, but it reminds us that Egypt's sacred landscapes were reused for thousands of years. In Islamic tradition, the earliest mosque is connected to the Prophet Muhammad's own mud brick house in Medina. Simple materials, shaded space, and a place of prayer becoming the foundation for one of the world's great architectural traditions. And here, beside a temple built for a pharaoh who claimed divine authority from Amun, we see another layer of Egypt's spiritual history. Now, the path leads us upward, toward the first level of the temple. We move toward the left side, where the walls begin to speak in the language of ancient Egypt, not with simple decoration, but with full symbolic scenes carved into stone. Inside, the eye is drawn to a powerful hieroglyphic scene, the cosmic bull. In Egyptian symbolism, the bull was more than an animal. It represented strength, kingship, fertility, and celestial power. To the ancient mind, the heavens themselves could be understood through sacred animals, star forms, and divine forces moving above the earth. And standing here, surrounded by columns and carved inscriptions, it feels less like a wall of art and more like a preserved fragment of an ancient cosmic code. Now we stand before the temple, then move across toward the right side, where Hatshepsut's own story begins to unfold in stone. Here, William Henry, the well-known researcher and Ancient Aliens TV host, teaches us about Hatshepsut's divine origin story, a story carved directly into the walls. These reliefs were not just decoration. They were royal propaganda, sacred history, and a claim to divine power. Hatshepsut presented herself not only as queen, but as pharaoh, chosen by Amun, born from the gods, and worthy to rule Egypt. Nearby, the memory of Amenhotep II still echoes through Deir el-Bahari. His older temple helped inspire this sacred landscape, linking Hatshepsut to the deep past of Theban kingship. And in an ancient alien-style interpretation, William Henry points us toward a deeper question. Were these divine birth stories only political symbols, or memories of rulers believed to carry celestial, star-born bloodlines? To the ancient Egyptians, kingship came from the heavens. Here, Hatshepsut carved that claim directly into eternity. As we continue walking along the temple, the columns rise around us like stone guardians, covered in hieroglyphs that once carried sacred names, offerings, and divine symbols. Every surface feels intentional. Nothing here was random. The carved figures, the sacred animals, the gods, and the lines of hieroglyphs all work together like a spiritual language, a map of power, transformation, and the connection between earth and the heavens. Then, we come upon a sanctuary-like chamber, with openings that reveal scenes and incredible visuals carved into the stone. This space feels different, more hidden, more symbolic. The images seem to point beyond ordinary history, into mystery, ritual, and esoteric knowledge that may have only been understood by the priesthood. Was this simply a temple passage, or part of a deeper initiation into the divine world of Hatshepsut? Now we turn back toward the ramp and begin walking upward again, leaving this mysterious chamber behind as the temple pulls us higher to the next level. Now we reach the upper level of the temple, and suddenly Hatshepsut appears again. Not as a distant ruler, but as an Osiris figure, repeated in a powerful row of statues. These Osiride forms connect her to resurrection, eternal kingship, and the divine afterlife. She's no longer only pharaoh, she's being presented as part of the sacred order itself. From here, we move toward two massive gateways. The stonework becomes even more impressive, with giant rose granite blocks cut with incredible precision. Around us, the walls are filled with intricate hieroglyphs, sacred names, offering scenes, and symbols of divine protection. Every step feels like we are passing deeper into a hidden ritual zone. Now we enter the inner sanctum, the most sacred heart of the temple, where power, mystery, and the presence of the gods all come together. Now we are inside the inner sanctum of Hatshepsut's temple, the sacred heart of the entire complex. These small openings were not random. Some acted as niches for sacred images and royal statues, while the sanctuary itself used controlled light to focus attention on the presence of Amun. The walls around us are covered in carved hieroglyphs and offering scenes, showing Hatshepsut and the royal family participating in temple ritual. This was where the sacred bark of Amun was brought from Karnak during festival processions. And now look up. Even the ceiling becomes symbolic, transforming the chamber into a sacred sky above the pharaoh. This is not just architecture, it's a doorway into the divine world of ancient Egypt. Now we leave the sacred terraces of Hatshepsut's temple behind and head back across the west bank of Luxor. But the journey is not over. Ahead, two gigantic figures rise from the desert. The Colossi of Memnon, ancient guardians of a lost temple and one of Egypt's greatest surviving mysteries. Now we arrive at the Colossi of Memnon. Two gigantic seated figures rising from the west bank of Luxor like guardians of a vanished world. These statues represent Pharaoh Amenhotep III, one of the greatest rulers of Egypt's 18th dynasty. For more than 3,000 years, they have faced east toward the Nile and the rising sun, watching over the edge of the ancient Theban necropolis. But what we see today is only the entrance. Behind these giants once stood the enormous mortuary temple of Amenhotep III, a temple of millions of years, built for offerings, divine kingship, and the pharaoh's eternal life. Most of that temple is gone, destroyed by earthquakes, floods, and later stone reuse. But the colossi remained. Each statue rises nearly 60 feet high, cut from massive stone, and once formed part of one of the most ambitious sacred complexes in Egypt. And then there is the strangest mystery of all. In the ancient world, one of these statues was said to sing at dawn. Greek and Roman visitors believed they heard a mysterious sound coming from the stone and connected it to Memnon, a heroic figure from myth. Modern explanations point to cracks, heat, and morning air moving through the damaged stone. But in an ancient alien-style interpretation, some ask a deeper question. Were these giants designed only as monuments, or as resonant guardians aligned with sunrise, sound, and the cosmic rebirth of the king? Standing here, the colossi feel less like ruins and more like the last surviving witnesses of a lost sacred technology. As the sun sets over the west bank of Luxor, we leave behind the Colossi of Memnon, silent giants still watching over a temple lost to time. From Hatshepsut's sacred terraces to these mysterious statues, this landscape still feels alive with history, power, and ancient mystery. Join us next time as we cross back to the East Bank to explore the legendary Temple of Karnak, one of the largest sacred complexes ever built, where towering columns, hidden alignments, and the power of Amun still echo through stone.